Hello, come on in. Come on in. It's telling me we're live. I don't know when you ladies start popping in, but we'll give you a few seconds to come in before we get started. Hey, ladies. Hello. Hi. Go ahead and drop a comment when you come in. Come on in. Hello. Good evening. Hi, Margaret. Hey, ladies. Happy Friday. Hey, Melissa. Vicky. Hello. Hey, Tanae. Hey, Sabrine. Hello, Fatima. Come on in. Hey, ladies. Okay. Hey, trying Tanae. To keep it up here on my screen. That way I can see too. Hey, everybody. Come on in. Hi, Regina. Hello, Brittany. Hello. All right. So we're about 2 after here. We're going to go ahead and get ready to get started. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Lori Pogue. I am the Dean of the School of Business, and I'm so excited to have you all here tonight. Hey, Toya. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. So tonight we are doing a very special live panel. We are talking about business, bae, and them babies. Okay. All right. So we have two dynamic business girlfriends of mine. They are going to come on here in a second. I'm going to introduce them. And we're just going to have a good conversation. I hope you ladies, I got you already had your shower, got your PJs on, you sent your kids somewhere, sent your husband somewhere. We're going to have a good time tonight. All right. Okay. So I got my yellow on. We're about to get it in. Okay. So first I'm going to introduce you to this first person. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and kind of tell you what they do. But our first person is Miss Ashley Crawley with Still Shots Photography. Come on in, Ashley.
Hey. Happy Friday.
Hey, so just tell everybody what it is that you do.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much, you guys, for having me here on the Sister Circle panel. I'm super excited. I am Ashley Crawley, owner of Still Shots Photography here in Greensboro, North Carolina, where we specialize in high fashion, wedding, branding, family. You need a shot, we can do it, but we're going to do it in a very fashion forward style. So I'm super excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me. Please follow me on social media at stillshotsphotography_NC.
Yes, and I see, Ashley, you have some fans in the group. Everybody's dropping,
Those are my friends.
hey, Tanisha, all of that. So yeah, okay, well, welcome. Our next special guest is Nicole Keith, and we're going to bring her on with NK Paints.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Keith of NK Paints, and I am in my favorite place, and I'm getting to talk to some of my favorite girlfriends. I'm so happy that I was invited to be here tonight. So I am NK Paints, and I have an art studio and gallery downtown in downtown Greensboro, where I host lots of sip and paints, ladies' nights, date nights. I do commission work, and I do a lot of abstract work. So my sip and paints aren't your typical sip and paint. I want you to get the full experience. So we do some great artwork and we have a great time doing it. So follow me on Instagram at NK Paints.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Before we do that, I would just not know what to do if I did not wish our sister circle pastor, Lady Leah, a happy 25th birthday. Y'all help me wish her a happy
Oh,
25th birthday.
yeah, girl, it's your birthday. Hey,
Happy
hey,
birthday. So let's give her some yellow hearts. I know she told me she was going to
yes.
log in tonight.
Oh, that's so
Let's wish her a
good.
happy birthday, show her all the
Birthday.
love. So when she logs back in, she will see this tonight. Happy birthday, Lady Leah. And
Yes.
it's also Ebony's birthday, too. She's another Sister Circle member. Happy birthday, Ebony. I have to shoot her out too. Happy birthday. Okay. All right, let's dive in, ladies. So we are going to take your questions tonight, but we're going to, I have some questions to kind of get us started too. The whole purpose of, this panel tonight really is, like I said, business, bae, and baby. A lot of us are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, and it's hard juggling it all. Your business, and we say bae, that could be boyfriend bae, husband bae, all of that. And then, babies. We got kids, they might not necessarily be a baby, but we have them all ages. So, it's hard trying to balance all three of those things. So hopefully tonight you'll get some kind of tips and some ways that you can work through some of that. And we will be more than happy, like I said, to take some questions here in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get it started. So Ashley and Nicole. Okay. First question. So with the photography business and with the paint studio and all that you do, what is the most difficult part about balancing things with your family, your business, your marriage? What give it to us. We're gonna keep it real tonight too. So we all got real issues that we're dealing with in our families and our business and our marriage. So, what do you find the most difficult?
Energy. I mean, the energy to be able to do it all,
Yeah.
honestly. Of course, everybody's going to say time, but that's what we're here to talk about tonight is, the time and how you do it all, because we all get our 24 hours in a day. And so, but I would just say, like, just the energy, keeping up with the energy and making sure self-care, that I'm able to kind of keep going and keep it pushing and keep it moving. But yeah, that's a lot within itself.
Mine would be keeping it organized, just being organized. Every morning when I wake up, I just do a running tab of where do I need to be, what time, how long, and who needs me. Because I got three of them, and all three of them have something to do every day. So it's just staying organized would be my most difficult thing.
Okay, and even for both of y'all, tell us how long y'all been married and the ages of your kids too, just to kind of give us, that perspective.
I've been married 16 years as of September, and I have three kids. My oldest, Nicholas, is 15. My daughter, Morgan, is 12, and my youngest is 8, and he will be 9 next month. So,
So, and I just celebrated 15 years yesterday. Whoop,
happy anniversary.
whoop. Thank you. 15 years of marriage. I have a little girl. Her name is Olivia. She's 7. She will be 8 in a few months. And yeah.
Okay, and I think I have the baby marriage of the group. We've been married 8 years, going into our ninth year, and I have a 6-year-old. So, and been in business, going into our 10th year. So yeah, that's it there. So, okay. Now, next question. Does your husband complain? Do your kids complain about your crazy schedule? Tell us what's their feedback that you get? What do you feel like? How do they feel about things? How you're conducting business and being a mom and being a wife and all that?
That's funny you asked that because my daughter told me, I think that before yesterday. So it's like, Mom, I never see you anymore. But when I'm home, everybody's in their room doing their own thing. So I guess it just makes her feel better to know that I'm in the house if she wants to see me. But as far as my husband, now that I'm starting to get a little busier, he, I wouldn't just say complain, but what's the word I'm looking for? He lets me know that, you're moving a little different, but it's a good move. It's a good move. So
So I'm going to kind of piggyback on that. It was an issue kind of in the beginning of our business. I had been in business full time for right at 15 years, but I've been in business, totally from part time, just side hustle all the way till now, over 25 years. So I think in the beginning, because I was so hungry and wanting to grind and go for it and the hustle, like everything was on the back burner. It was like my husband was like, "Okay, I'm over here. What's up?" And I'm like, "Listen, I'm trying to get out here and get this paper." You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to go for it. Plus, I just had a passion to want to go for it. So anything you love and you enjoy, you're going to spend a lot of time doing it. And I think, with the ones that we love the most, of course, we just like, they'll understand, they'll be okay. And my husband was kind of like waving that flag, like, "Hey, no, I'm not okay." Because I feel like, I got married. We're married now, and I'm looking for some attention. You know what I'm saying? And so trying to balance that was really hard because I was putting in, 50 plus hours a week when I went full time. And I was working harder, for myself and my own business than I was when I was like out in the regular world working a regular job. So he was just like, "I thought this was gonna be better. We put you into full-time photography. So I thought you would be able to juggle your own schedule and make things do what it do." But of course, it didn't go down like that in the beginning. So I didn't know how to balance. I didn't know how to juggle it and, keep the scales even. And then, of course, my daughter, kids are just what they are. They can be selfish and they want, Jaylee wants mommy home all the time. I'm leaving to come out tonight to do this. And she's crying. "I hadn't seen you all day, girl. Like, it's Friday. That's the day it's popping in the studio." She came in and she was able to hang out with me a little bit, but of course I was working. But it's just kind of like, that's just kind of the cost of being the boss, um, but she's very understanding. And when I am able to spend time with her, of course, every day, because I'm very much an active mom in my daughter's life, I just try to be as present as possible. So, trying to be off the phone if that's even a possibility, but just trying to be present, but and I think that's a lot of what she requires of me at this point. Just, when she wants my attention, she wants my attention fully.
I want to add to that. I was a stay-at-home mom for the majority of my kids' younger years. So I was always available. And my husband has several businesses. So he was able to be out and make moves. And, I was there with the kids. I was there. And so now that I am on that grind, like Ashley was describing, that it's really kind of thrown things off and everybody's trying to get used to mommy now wanting to be the one who's trying to be out front and make moves and do all those things. But I think I'm taking it in stride because I was able to be there with those younger years. And now that they're getting older, they don't need me to hold their hand as much. And so I think it's just them used to me being there more so than needing me all the time because they know that when they need me, I'm going to be there. So I think that's the part of the organization that's I'm trying to feel out right now.
Yeah, those are both really good points. And one thing too, I could say, like, even with my husband, I think sometimes as being a business owner, we get so used to our customers and our clients needing us and like showing us that love. And so, like, our tanks are kind of full, just like how when Ashley logged on, like people like, "Oh, still shots, I love her." So we're constantly being told how dope we are, how much people love us, all of that. But then when you get home, my husband had to tell me, like, I don't have, I'm not getting that, from my circle or my people. I don't have what you have, so I need that extra, that extra love, that extra support, that extra you telling me, all of this like encouragement, stuff like that, because I'm not getting that like you are on a constant, every day. So that was kind of real to me, because it's just like, okay, cool. I think sometimes we kind of take that for granted, and just go on with life when we get home, because we good. We didn't have 12 people tell us we dope that day, but we have to still encourage our spouses when we get home too. So I don't know. That's something that really just resonated with me. We did have one question come through here, really quick, before, I don't want to overlook it. So someone wanted to know, what is one thing that you would say to someone who is single? Sorry, my brain's taking over. Or I guess a pre-mom. So someone maybe who may want to have kids one day and doesn't. That's an entrepreneur. And for me, I would say, since this is a question here, definitely go ahead and take advantage of your time that you have now, and you don't have to dedicate that time to a child or a spouse, because I love my kid and I love my husband, but I have these moments sometimes where I'm just like, man, like, if I ain't have those responsibilities, like, oh, I would be like Oprah, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but I love them, and all of that. So it's like, I know I can't go as hard. But it's just like, while you can do that, take the trip, take the job, do all that you can do in your time that you're waiting for all of that. And then that way, when the husband comes, when the kids come, you'll be set and you won't have to grind as hard. That's just my opinion. I'll let Ashley and Nicole chime in on that too.
Yeah.
I agree with everything. I mean, you're exactly right. I would definitely ditto everything you just said, because it's just a whole nother level. Like, of course, I hear your heart when you're like, I still love my kids, I still love my husband, but at the end of the day, it's like, you can't just pick up and roll out. Like, you can't just we just celebrated Galentine's with my girls. So, like that had to be a whole planned event for me. All right. Because I had to figure out, like, okay, I got to make sure my husband's good, he's taken care of. And that was Super Bowl Sunday. So, I was like, we got to get that right. And then you got to, take care of the kids. So like, if I didn't have those responsibilities, I literally could like go with the wind. You know what I'm saying? So while you're single, like, enjoy doing those things, try things out that you don't necessarily have to get a cosign, or permission slip signed on doing some of those things, especially, when it comes to like your finances and stuff like that. You want to make sure you go ahead. Like, if you want to go tour Europe for 6 months, go do it. Because when you get married, your husband's going to be like, where are we going? Where the whole family going? It's going to be a different story. So, but yeah, I echo exactly what Lori was saying.
Yeah. And for me, I'm somewhat of an introvert. So I love interacting with people. But on the same token, when I have to go home, sometimes I'm drained and I just sometimes just want to run away. And I just want to go and lock myself in a room and just stay in the hotel and with black curtains and just sleep and watch TV, and I can't do that. I can't just run away because there are so many things that need me. So I will say that I didn't have my first child until I was 30. So I was able to really have that time. I was able to do everything that I felt like I wanted to do as a single person. So I didn't get in it and feel like, oh, wow, I missed out on this or I missed out on that. But, you still want to have that time to yourself, So it's just like the topic tonight. It's just all that juggle. It's always going to be a juggle. It's never going to be a time where you have it all planned out and say, okay, now I could just be married and have the business and it's just going to be great. It's just not going to be like that.
That's good. That's good. So we have another good question here. It says, what systems or specific actions did you take to overcome these balancing challenges? Sorry, balancing challenges. So one for me, and I'm just gonna answer because I had the phone right in my hand while I read it. So, like, I told myself I was gonna be intentional about date nights this year and family days this year. So, and Nicole helped me out with that because she had the couples paint night in January. So we went to that. So that was our date night. And so my husband and I are gonna take turns planning our date night because let me tell you, sometimes if you don't plan it out, it might not happen.
It
Or you
won't.
might end up doing a Netflix and chill. Not trying to say nothing's wrong with that, but married Netflix and chill ain't like single Netflix and chill. So, so I'm just saying. It's just like we gonna fall asleep on the couch and be snore. You know what I'm saying? So really like trying to be intentional and get out of the house and throw some makeup on, get a little sexy, get a little cute, do something. But that to me, that's the system. Planning it out. Even like what Ashley said, you have a very active social life too. So it's making Bay feel like he's getting a part of you too, and you not just looking cute when you're going to see your friends, which is what my husband prefers jobs. You're not just looking cute when you're going to see your friends. You could, throw on a little lip, some mascara in the house too. So yeah, but yeah, I'll let the other ladies tell me what they think about their systems they have in place to kind of make sure they're balancing.
Okay. So I'll just jump in. So like y'all listen, I'm still, even after being married 15 years, in business for over 25 years, I'm still learning the balance, right? And I think balance is such a tricky word. I think it's more or less like a harmony, right? So, the analogy I like to use is like if you imagine a clown juggling the balls, right? The main thing is he's keeping everything in the air. He's just trying to keep the ball as close to the ground from not hitting the ground. And I think that's how it is, in marriage and work and family, whatever, single, married, however, you just basically, it's a juggling act. And you just try to keep the ball that's about to hit the ground, whether that, the ball could be my husband, the ball could be my baby, the ball could be my business, the ball could be my homegirls, the ball can be any and everything. But what the ball can't be is me. So that's why self-care is like super, super duper important because I'm the one that's throwing everything in the air and I got to make sure it's all up and running and everybody's floating and flowing and doing what they do. Right. So this year, actually last year, I made a decision to stop working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, honestly. And now I only work on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, of course, if I have weddings. That's my goal. Now, of course, there's going to be times where we go outside of that. But right now, like me juggling the ball, my husband tends to be a little bit happier with that. My kid definitely loves the fact that mommy only is in the studio 2 days a week, potentially 3. So, those are like kind of the things that I put in place, but it took a minute for me to get here. Like I should have done this a long time ago, but that's part of like working out the business, working out, what's going to work well for you and your family. Everything that I tell that may not work for you and your business to say, I'm only going to be, operating for, 2 to 3 days out of the week, but you have to find a flow that's going to work well for you and your crew, So
For me, I have to take care of me first because if I don't, nothing else in my world works. I'm going to be on edge and I'll be irritable with my kids. I'm just going to be not the best person to be around. So I have to keep that organization in line for me. And working out is my thing. So I take my kids to school, and as soon as I take them to school, I go straight to the gym. And a lot of days, I don't just go straight in the gym. I will sit in the parking lot outside of the gym for probably an hour, for about 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm either, thanks to Lori and Ashley, who have taught me that I have to start creating content and I have to engage. So a lot of mornings I'm sitting in the parking lot and I'm working on that stuff. And once I finish that, and I just kind of play on Instagram, that's something else I stole from Ashley, because I'm like, that is true. I play on Instagram. And once I play on Instagram for a while, and then I'm like, let me go in here and do what I got to do. And if I'm stressed, if I'm mad, or if I'm just whatever, that is the one place that's just my place. And I zone out and I'm not thinking about anything else. And when I leave, I'm walking a little bit taller. I feel a little bit less stressed or whatever it is. And I just feel like, okay, I'm ready for my day. I'm clear. And so I can come here to my studio and I can work, and then I'll go get the kids. We'll go home and do whatever we need to do. And then some nights I just come back over here and work some more, because once I get here, it's like, it's time to go get them already. It's already time to go get them. So I can kind of break things up to help that juggling thing from the balls from falling on the ground. But if I don't take care of me first, all the balls are just going to go everywhere.
Right.
So
That part.
for me.
And so that actually bridges us into another question. Someone asked about, how do we take care of ourselves? And I guess, so yeah, if I'm reading it right, dealing with all that we have to deal with, how do we practice self-care? So I know Nicole kind of answered that with the gym. And if there's anything else. What else you say?
I said, getting my hair done.
And getting her hair done, okay?
That getting my hair done.
Yes.
My
What
nails,
about you, Ashley? What do you do for self-care?
I love to hang out with my gal pals. So like
that's self-care. Like people don't understand that is self-care.
Because you're able to have an uninterrupted conversation without somebody tugging on you. And for me, that's important, because I like to run my mouth and I like my friends.
Yeah.
So, to be able to, have conversation without being interrupted, that for me is really good. If I love to, my homegirl just opened up a nail salon in her home. So she does midnight manicures. I'm loving that. Because I'm a night owl. I thrive well in the wee hours of the morning, right? I don't like to get up early, but I stay up really, really late. So for me, that's awesome, just to be able to find that time to be able to be like, my family's taken care of, sleep, I'm out. I'm at the nail salon at midnight and enjoying myself. All the other girly things that people like to do, like getting my makeup done, and I like, getting massages and all the shopping online in my bed. I like that.
It's something about those two things together, online and in your bed.
Yeah. So, there's just several things that I like to do for self-care, but I try to schedule it in. I will say that. Like you said, Lori, how you have to be intentional about, putting it on the calendar. I mean, making time for it, right?
Yeah.
So like, that's important to me too. Like, I want to make sure, I put me on the calendar. Otherwise, if I ain't juggling the balls, they all come crashing down.
That's
it's
true.
a wrap. Game over. Pick them all up, start again.
That's true.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing
That's
wrong
true.
with that. Because so my studio is really just starting to get its feet under it. And so a lot of things are coming at me really fast. And so sometimes and that can be overwhelming. And even though they're good changes, that part of being overwhelmed sometimes can make me feel like, kind of, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. And so last week I had a couple of days where I was just kind of in that little funk. And then once I snapped out of it, it's like, all right, you gotta look. I'm looking in the mirror like, look, girl, okay, you done had this pity party. It's time to pick it up. Let's go. You gotta go. Let's go. So those are, and as far as that self-care, like you said, your girlfriends, because it's something about your girlfriend when you leave, you have left so much weight. It's just, it's like, whew, okay, now I can start over again. That's a big deal. It is.
And Nicole, I just want to shout you out real quick, Lori, if I get 2 seconds. But y'all, her paint parties are the bomb. I mean, when I tell you, me and my girl Deb, we hung out, and it was great because, like I said, it's just uninterrupted conversation. You vibing with your homegirl, you got other like female energy around you. Everybody's like having a good time. You just like enjoy being with your people.
Right.
I know recently, Joanna with Onays, she has an amazing wine and floral design. There's just so many fun things that's on and popping. But I love y'all support my girl Nicole, her paint classes. Y'all gotta get your tickets. I promise you, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have
it's an awesome date night.
Yeah,
it's an awesome date night.
Yes.
We went for date night.
When's Nicole? You froze. Say it again. When's your next?
Ladies' night is next Saturday.
And when is your next date night?
I have that date. I'm working on that for March now.
Okay.
So February date night got thrown off because there were so many other things going on for Valentine's. So, you know, that's one of those things I'm learning. I'm learning that failure helps me. You know what? Next time I need to do this. I should have done this. So I don't take, at first I used to be like, gosh, maybe I just need to stop. But now it's like, good. Okay. Now I know this is what I need to work on next time. So
I think that's one important thing too, that you just brought up, that word failure, because I feel like as entrepreneurs, we oh God, we're gonna experience some failures now. And I mean, you know, of course, our failures end up helping us having successes, but because you have to experience failure in order to be an success, I feel like. But how is that? Let's talk about how that is coping with failure when you've had a bad day and you still got to go home and be mommy. You still got to go home and be, you know, wifey. How is it like, you know, working through that? So I don't know. Let's explore that a little bit.
I go into a shell a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody kind of knows that when I'm kind of like that, they'll leave me be, you know. And then tomorrow I'll talk about it, because when I'm in that shell, I'm processing, and I don't necessarily always know how to articulate what it is that I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. And so my family, I appreciate them for that they understand that, okay, mommy's such and such, or Nicole needs this time, and they'll just leave me alone, because they know I'll come out of it, and we'll talk about it. And then I'm more receptive to opinions then as well, because when I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong, I don't necessarily want you to tell me, well, you should have could have did this. I don't receive it well then. But once I've come out of it, then I'm like, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. So I'm grateful for my family allowing me to have that space.
And I think the cool thing about us is, Ashley, you know, you're an entrepreneur, your husband's an entrepreneur. Nicole, you're an entrepreneur, your husband has plenty of businesses too. So I look at it like, even when it comes to our children, you know, how are y'all with, you know, are you kind of pushing your kids to go that route? Like, you know, I want you see what we've done, you know, it'd be great if you're an entrepreneur too. And I think that plays in with our failures too. It's like, sometimes if I am having a really bad day, it's like I want to share some of that with my son, but then sometimes I don't, because I don't want to turn him off from small business ownership if that's what he decides to do one day. So how is that relationship with your kids and your business? What do they think you do? What, you know, do they like that you're an entrepreneur? How is that?
Well, Jaylee, listen, she rolls with me. I always tell people, when you come in, I like, this is my little assistant right here. Her name's Olivia. You know, she rolls. If I'm there, you know, she's there, I'm there. If I'm there, she's there. It's days, of course, in the wintertime, she gets to spend, you know, more time with her father because his business is very seasonal. But in the spring and summer, like when you come into the studio, you're probably going to meet her. And we just kind of have a routine. So she knows that mommy, you know, has an awesome, you know, group of lady clients, and they come in and, you know, we take pictures, and, you know, they try on all these fabulous girly clothes. So of course she's like, I'm going to take over the photography business, and I'm going to be the slushy queen. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to see how you still feel about that when your little tail really can crunch some numbers and get to work. But we're going to see. But okay, you know, I'm encouraging you in that. But I think it's cool that she gets to see that, you know, some of the benefits and the perks and the things that she gets to enjoy in life are not just free. Mommy, they have to go to work and earn money. You know, she gets to be with us and see what that process looks like. So, you know, she has no choice but to be cool with it. She has to be the little assistant, and I give her little jobs around here just to start to try to, even when she was like maybe around before the pandemic, we tried to start her like a bubblegum business. You know what I'm saying? I wanted her to kind of have that entrepreneurial like bite, you know, bug bite. You know, I wanted her to kind of feel and see what it's like to engage and collect money and be able to have her own. So we tried our bubblegum business, and right now she's wanting to do like a sticker business. So we're getting ready to kind of launch that. But I do try to kind of put that entrepreneurial bug in her, but I'm not going to press her one way or the other. Hey, Deb. I just thought,
Well, I don't know. I think my kids, I don't think they've really thought about anything else other than being in business for themselves. Actually, my daughter, probably about 2 years ago, she's kind of cooled off on it, but she started her thing and she called it Slime Time by Morton. She loves slime, making slime. And there was I think a folk festival downtown. I think this was the year before last. And she had a booth set up and she was selling her slime. And then this past summer, my son, he wants to, because we have a heat press, because we always trying stuff. We're trying different stuff. So he was making T-shirts and he called it Hooper's Marathon. So he was coming up with his logos and different things. Zach, he's my little one, the 8-year-old. He's the kid out of all of them. He's my only child that was interested in playing with toys. And so that's all he is interested in. He's all that other stuff, he'll grow into it. But right now, he ain't think about all that. But I think it's just what they know. So it's just what they know. So I'm not necessarily trying to push them. But going back to the failure thing, that was a conversation we had going to school one day last week, a week before, just talking about you're not a failure unless you just quit. Until you just decide that you're not going to do it anymore, that's the only time you're a failure, because you're going to learn something every time you get back up. So I like having what I'm learning. I get to talk about it with them, and so it's just just keeping it going. So it's exciting.
That's awesome. And ladies, don't forget to drop your questions. We have someone that is reading them and sending them to us. This is an interesting question that I just got. How is it running a business with your spouse?
oh, that's good.
It's real ghetto, okay? No, but it's you know what? It is gotten a lot better over the years. I think after like year 2 or year 3, we just realized what our lanes were. And not trying to say that there can't be any crossover, but it's probably not going to end up good for either one of us if there's too much crossover in those lanes. So and then like being intentional and not talking about stuff. If we're on vacation, I don't want to talk about the business while we're on vacation. If we're having date night, if we're at a family function, like, unless the business is on fire, God forbid, I don't want to talk about it. So really just setting those boundaries. But yeah, I would say it's not for the weak at heart going into business with your spouse. It is not. Like, you got to have a strong marriage. So, and I mean, and that's just real, because it's like, even if you have a business partner that's your friend, y'all can split up, but we have a covenant that's there that we promise each other not to leave each other through sickness and health, death do us part. So it's like, if you're getting on my nerves, like, we still have to be together. So that's why it's important to put those boundaries in place, and just accept that some of us have weaknesses, some of us have strengths, and to kind of just go with those and respect those. So another question we got. Oh yeah, go ahead, Nicole. Yeah, for sure.
I think a part of those boundaries is wisdom. Ooh, so
that's good.
When my husband first started his law practice, I was trying to work in there kind of like the office manager. And I think we had like one of the biggest probably falling outs about keeping a door open. That's how trivial it was. It's just when a door should be open versus when it should be closed. And I just think that we learned that because we both have such strong personalities, and this is yours. And because that belonged to him, I got to the point where I respected that. Like, this is yours and this is your baby. So this is how you need it to be. And because I'm so strong-willed too, I need to let you be there and I can be here. So I think, it takes a special couple to be able to work together. and then like you said, go home and not talk about it.
Ooh,
The carryover is
yeah.
like, I don't know how to not do the carryover. So it was best for us that you do your thing and I do my thing, and then we have other things to talk about.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's good. Okay. Another question. How do you stay relative when the markets you are in are so competitive and saturated?
That's a lot. I'll just jump in and just feel I'm a firm believer in what God has for you is for you.
Hello?
That sounds so cliche, but I mean it is what it is. I think there's enough business out here for everybody. Clearly, our markets, specifically photography, you can find a photographer kind of a dime a dozen now, but I think it just depends on, for me, it's like what I specialize in, and plus I've already established myself within this community, I think. And then just trying to, as far as staying relevant, I do spend a lot of time on social media, but I do try to use that as like an educational platform and, sharing both for the clients to come to see me, promoting them, and then also them promoting me. So it works kind of back and forth, which works out really, really well. But I think, I don't, I guess, try to stay relevant outside of, sharing what the latest and greatest is through social media. But other than that, I just really feel like if it's going to come to me, it's just going to come to me. If the client is for me, they're for me. If they're not for me, it's okay. I'm going to bid you well and you go find who's going to work well for you. And then I also think that I believe in community over competition. I know that I can't service everybody. I know that I may not necessarily be the right fit for everybody. And I have sent clients to other photographer friends of mine. A lot of other photographer friends. I shout them out all the time. And have no problem in doing that because I feel like, again, there's enough business out here for everybody. So I want to see people win. That's important to me. Like, I don't just say that to be saying that. I say that because I mean that, and I invest in people because I feel like, that's just something that God has called me to do. But yeah, definitely community over competition, and what God has for me is for me.
And even though we don't do the same thing, when she says she wants people to win, she means that. Like, this is a side note. Like, I just remember I was her Olivia. That's my buddy. If y'all don't know that ball of energy, Olivia, that is my buddy. So Olivia comes to my camps a lot, and I don't know. One day Ashley was picking her up, and we were just talking, and I was just kind of going through that, like, I'm not sure what to do, and I just said something like that, and Ashley was like, girl, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to work with you. And I was like, are you sure? And Ashley came up here in my studio and sat with me for like 3 hours one afternoon and just pushing me with ideas. And I would say, okay, yeah, I'm going to try it tomorrow. She's like, no, you're going to try it today. And it's just like, she means, when she says she wants you to win, she wants you to win. She comes to my paint parties and she's working. I'm like, Ashley, no, stop. No. But she means that. So, I had to throw that out there because it's the bomb. But I want to go pick back off something you said. You said, what's for me is for me. Right. And everybody might have the same recipe, but like they say, the sauce ain't the same. So, like, when I'm thinking about something that I want, you have this vision, and I know if I needed to look a certain way, or I'm trying to get this particular feel or vibe, that's where I'm going to go. So that's how I'm thinking about, when I think about a photographer, everybody has their own stamp, Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm trying to carve out that niche where you see something and it has that, like, okay, that came from NK Paints, Mm-hmm. So I think that's the thing where you're talking about, like, where it's saturated. So I don't really think I let that even bother me or think about that too much about the market being, because like you said, it's enough business out there for everybody, and I can't get everybody.
Right.
Sometimes you don't want everybody. So.
Yeah, that part. You're not a good fit. I'm gonna have to send you over to such and such. Not because I don't want you, but just I just don't think we're gonna work well together.
It's gonna work. Okay, this is another really good question from First Lady Deborah Pierce. I love this. Has your spouse ever had an issue with your businesses and hobbies, making them feel as if what you're doing has taken their place and their time? If so, how did you handle it? I'm gonna let y'all go first because I got a whole book on this. So y'all wanna go? Y'all.
Well, I think I touched on it. I know Deb just jumped on hey girl hey, but I touched on that a little bit earlier. Like in the beginning of my full-time career in photography, I definitely was neglectful in every aspect of the word. Friendship, sexually, all of that. I was very neglectful. I'm just gonna be real transparent because at the end of the day, and I think that's where, I'm still trying to find a balance is that, I was pouring it all because I was like, you have agreed for me to jump into this full time. You've given me a timeline. Like if it ain't popping by then, baby, you're gonna have to go get a 9 to 5 again because we gotta make sure we have some coins rolling in. So for me, it was just like go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. And so I definitely lost sight of everything else. I just literally had my eyes set on the goal, and there was a lot of resentment in the beginning. Like I said, he really questioned whether or not this was a good move to go full time in a business. But I think with a lot of communication, both in a good way, healthy communication and some bad communication, just we know what that is, body language, all of that. We just we realized like we got to fix this because it's getting off track. So let's bring it back on. And that's been a slow and steady process. Like I told y'all, like just last year, I'm just we're still working on what's going to work well for us in our household. So it's an ongoing process. That's just part of learning one another, and when you start something new, change is difficult for everybody. And so, going through those changes together, be willing to stick and stay, being willing to communicate, being willing to, go with the ups and the downs, it's just part of it. I think in motherhood and being a wife, all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do think that because all of mine, like I said earlier, with coming from me being a stay-at-home and always being available to now putting a lot of that attention on myself. And I will say I have been and I'm not going to say a little, I have been a lot selfish with going after this dream that I've always had. I've always had it kind of bubbling, just didn't know how I was going to do it. And so now that I have the opportunity, I have been a little selfish with it. I have been very selfish with it. And I think I'm working through some of that, sometimes feeling resentful because I feel like, well, when you were starting and when you were doing this, I had to be ready whenever. I had to be on point. I had to accept and compromise. And so I just feel like, well, it's my turn. So, hey, can I get some of that back? And so we're still trying to figure those things out.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so there are so many layers to this question. And I'm gonna dive into the first layer first, and then we'll go into the second layer as it, reflects with kids and all that. But as far as the husband goes, I feel like I'm very guilty of that. I think it's important before you get married, you really need to understand what your spouse's love languages are, because like my husband and I have totally opposite love languages, and it's okay. Not trying to say that it can't work, but I feel like if he is definitely a words of affirmation and quality time, and I don't really need words of affirmation from you because I get that from my village, and I'm getting, I can go spend time with my girlfriends again, and that fills my tank up. But you don't have, a crew like that. So it's just, I don't know. It's weird because I think it can become something where your spouse does feel some type of way about your hobbies or, the things that you're devoting your time to, especially if they feel like they aren't getting 100% from you at home. So I definitely feel like it's that balance. Like, I can't go to everything that my girls are having. I gotta space it out. Let me do one social event a month. You know what I'm saying? Because I would be like, husbandless if I did that. He leave me out. So I definitely think, you can't just go like you would if you were single. And that's why we gave those words of encouragement to our single ladies. Go. Like, if you, like Ashley said, if you want to go travel the world, do it now, because, like, your husband gonna be waiting for you when you get home. He's gonna want something to eat. He's gonna want something to eat. Your kids gonna want you to go outside and play with them when you get home. They don't care about your Zoom calls. They don't care. So,
Right.
so yes, I think definitely, um, giving them that quality time so you won't have the issues on the back end, and they won't resent your friends, or, the things that you want to do and places you want to go. Another piece of that, like I said, there were kind of layers to that too, but I feel like, and this is like a side note, but I think, even with, like, what Nicole said, she had her first child when she was 30. And I feel like, for a lot of women, especially ones who are single or getting married later in life, so much of our career, like, I had a son, and then I waited to start back trying to have another one, because I wanted to, like, do as much as I could in my career first. And now, I'm 37. I'm like, am I going to be able to have another one? You know what I'm saying? So I think, like, it's all kinds of things we as women have to, like, think about, like, even as it concerns with who we marry, when we have kids, all of that. If we want to have a successful business or want to be a devoted entrepreneur. So I just think that's things that we really have to think about before jumping into this game. And I know somebody had mentioned, they said a comment earlier, like, oh man, let me see if I can find it. I think they said something like, do we think that an entrepreneur, maybe the admin can find it for us, but do we think everybody's born to be an entrepreneur, or is that something that could be, like, taught? I think that was the question. And so, like, what do you ladies think about that? Because I know a lot of times now we live in the day and time where everybody wants to be a girl boss and own a business. But, is that something that people can just kind of, like, go out and jump into? Or is that something you feel like they need to kind of educate themselves on before they go out there and do it?
Yeah, you definitely need to count up the cost, because it has its glamorous perks, and don't let, social media, that's the highlight reel. Okay. But yeah, it definitely has its perks, but it also has its downsides too. And you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. When you are the girl boss, you're the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. You know what I'm saying? It ends and begins with you. So if you're not good with, like, handling those boss responsibilities,
Right.
if you're not good with conflict, and I say that, like, for real, because you're dealing with clients. So I'm happy. Most of the time they're happy, but when they get upset,
Yes.
it's on you. Right. There's just a lot of things. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, can you get it from, is it something that you just come out the gate and have? Yes. Is it something that you can learn? It is, but you also just need to make sure you count up the costs and make sure you're ready, to be the boss. Like, for real, because it can get overwhelming if you're not ready for it. Really.
Being ready for it, because 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been ready to do this. I don't think I would have had the confidence in myself to even do it. I love what I'm doing. My gifts, I've always known what my gifts are. My gifts are teaching and being a creative. So before I did this, I've been a teacher. I've always been a teacher, and I was fulfilled with that, but I never could settle in it because that creative side of me, I wasn't nurturing it. And so I am a firm believer in, we get what we get when we're ready for it. And it'll come in those doses that we can handle. And so that's where I am now. And I don't think I could handle if people were calling me every single day. I don't think I could handle it. So as I'm growing into it, I'm growing in that entrepreneurial spirit. And so, like you said, counting up the costs, is just not something you just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna run a business because, like you said, what'd you say? What did you, I don't remember what
Take some grind, girl, some hustle.
like when people are arguing with me about how much I charge for a paint party, and I'm just like, y'all have no idea the amount of work that goes into that production. So that whole going back and forth and knowing my value and knowing my worth, that's another thing that you have to really stand firm in. I think with being an entrepreneur is like, I am worth this. And if you don't want to do that, then you're just not, that's not the client. That's not the client that I'm trying to pull in. And like you said, most of the time they're happy with, but when they're not,
When they're not.
they're not. They're not happy. So
Somebody else asked, how did you all know you were ready to leave your 9-to-5 jobs? And I think as we segue into that, you all have had some interesting careers before you went into entrepreneurship, especially you, Nicole. You used to teach. So, talk about a little bit about what you did beforehand and then go into like when you knew you were ready to do this full time.
So I taught middle school, and then I was teaching freshman level English at GTCC and Greensboro College. And I love teaching. I mean, I love teaching. It just comes natural for me. But when I felt like I really wanted, because this was just always like a hobby, friends or family members be like, hey, somebody's graduating. Can you, make a picture for them? Or, when my kids were babies, I would paint their nurseries and things like that. And I still don't know what made me feel like I could do this full time. I don't know. I really don't know what was the pinpoint that made me say I could do this full time, other than the fact that I got to the point where I didn't want to I dreaded being in the classroom. Like the whole time I was in there, I was thinking about, dang, I could be doing this. And by the time I leave here and grade these papers and do all this, I'm not going to have the energy or the time to put into this. And I'm just very cognizant of time. And so I'm just like, my time is getting away from me and I have to do this. I at least have to try it before I'm just like, dang, I wish I had. I don't want to have that. I don't ever want to have that. I wish I had. So I would rather try this and fail because I can always go back to the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I'm going to try to take y'all, I'm going to warp speed y'all, but before Christ, everybody say before Christ. Okay. Like I was caught up in the hustling life, the streets life. Okay. So entrepreneur, I mean, it's always been a mindset of the grind. Okay. Going out to get it in a very not good way. But that was like the very start for me. And then I've always liked the art. So I've always, been into makeup. I worked for MAC Cosmetics for a while. I waited tables. I worked at David's Bridal. I was just trying to be around anything and everything that could lead me to the next person I could take a picture of. Because I knew I wanted to, I knew that I wanted to be a photographer at a very early age. I opened and closed several photography studios before this finally took off. And it really, after Christ, after I came to know Jesus and he brought all the blessings in my life, including my husband, that's when, he was on board. He was like, I know this is a passion. I know you've tried and failed many times to do this, but let's try to do this. So we went for it full time. The first year of our marriage, he, basically were like, we're going to try to live under one income. So my pastor at the time, Bishop Lockett, really encouraged married couples to try to sustain their household with one income. Just because you never know what happens. Your wife get pregnant, and you can't be out of work. You just need to be able to run everything and not try to use two incomes to support your household. And we really just kind of took that and ran with it. So, my husband was like, all right, let's try it. Now I can't say you go all the way out there for a long time, but he did give me a deadline. He was like, if you can make this, if you can make this amount of money within this amount of time, then we can keep going. And because, like I said, y'all, I had that before Christ hustle in me, that's where it just came out. And to God be the glory. Here we are 15 years later. And I have successfully been able to run my business full time. But yeah, it's always been some type of, side passion of me trying to, work, take pictures. Even when I was working at the bridal studio and I'm helping the brides get in their dress, I'm like, you got a photographer? I'm I'm pushing my business while working somebody else's business. But I knew it was time to go. I think part of the question was, when did you know you want to leave your 9 to 5 to work your 5 to 9 full time? I actually have a webinar on that. You can check out my link tree to see that. But I knew it was time for me when I was crying going into work. I just did not want to go. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I definitely felt unfulfilled because I knew I was making all these other people money, and I wanted to do that for myself. And I think, once you live a part of your existence making money for yourself, and you know what that feels like, it's real hard to go back. And you're going to do everything. You're going to scratch and fight to try to maintain that lifestyle. And so, and to maintain that feeling. So for me, like I said, I just think I was just so fed up, and I was so tired of working for somebody else. I just knew. I was like, it's time for me to go. And of course, I counted up the costs. We had a conversation. I felt supported by my husband, and that's when I knew. We just tried it. And like I think Nicole said earlier, I was young enough to try, and if I failed, it would be okay. I could get back up, pick up the pieces, and keep going. I wasn't trying to do this at 65 and 70 years old when I need to go somewhere and sit down anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I had time on my side, and just trying to make it happen. So yeah.
Yeah, I like to call myself the Harriet Tubman of entrepreneurship, because I encourage everybody to get out the plantation if they can. But I also, at the same time now, and it's such a parallel here, because half the people who left the plantation and got caught and had to go back, they weren't quite ready to leave. So you have to plan out your escape. You can't just say we about to leave. No, you got to plan that thing out, So, and by that I mean, save up some money. I always say, and for me, when I left the plantation, I had 3 months worth of savings saved up, and I thought that was enough, and it really wasn't. So I would encourage anybody to try to save at least 6 months of living expenses before you're going to leave. So you can be ready for that trip up north. Okay. So, hey, so I'm just saying, so, cause it's going to get cold out there. You're going to get hungry, and you're going to need some money. So, yeah, so definitely with that. And just preparing yourself, like Ashley said, I think that's like vital. My husband is the real MVP, because, he held it down for me on them times where we were kind of like in between, where I was trying to figure out, is this full-time entrepreneurship really what I want to do or not? So, so definitely being able to kind of live on one income was a great thing. So if you can do that, if you're engaged or you're dating or you're thinking about that, try to do that if at all possible. So, but yeah, definitely, like Ashley said, when you crying and you don't, you like, I can't, it's like pulling teeth trying to get me to go into work. It's like, yes, sis. So I'm gonna go ahead and head on out, So yeah. We just got another question in. Let's see here.
Lord, that was classic.
He said, yeah. I mean, it's so real when you think about it like that. Okay. Somebody asked, do we offer mentoring, or do we maintain a relationship with our mentors still? I think that's if I'm reading that correctly. Well, I offer business coaching with glorifiedmarketing.com. So if anybody's looking, sorry, shameless plug. I got to. I mean, she set up the question, But I do business coaching. Glorifiedmarketing.com is my website. But I think we all probably have. I have a business mentor as well. That I still, to this day, I'm 10 years in the game, and I still come across questions. Or I also have business besties. That's what I call them. People who are kind of in the same boat as me, and we kind of are resources for each other. So definitely get you some, if you're interested in going into entrepreneurship, get you a business bestie. get you a mentor. Definitely do business coaching because, you know, people I feel like in the past couple of years just jumped on the therapy boat. Like, I'm gonna go to therapy, I'm gonna start going to therapy, and they realize how it's such a help for them. So I feel like business coaching is like therapy, but for your business.
Mhm.
So I think that's a good investment to make. But I'll let Ashley and Nicole chime in on their relationships with their mentors. Or I know Ashley has an awesome photography program that she was doing to mentor people as well.
Yeah. So I definitely offer mentoring. Right now, I'm just doing like 101 classes. You can sign up for that through my website. But yeah, I think it's important for you to find a mentor. They definitely give you the cheat codes to the game. Okay, they're gonna make sure that you can get to the end and not take as long to do it. That should be the goal of your mentor, and to kind of guide you along the way. I don't necessarily have like a specific mentor, but what I do have is, like I said, a bunch of great girl bosses in my tribe that all do a bunch of different things. Some of them are photographers, some of them aren't. But if you cannot find a mentor, if you're having a tough time finding a mentor within your industry, I definitely suggest getting up with someone who does business well, because that's the start. You can pick up a nugget from anybody, but if they're doing business well and you like the way that they're doing business, reach out and just say, hey, do you offer mentoring? And don't be I'm not gonna say don't be, but so into them. I mean, if they offer a program, Lori offers coaching, but it's not going to be for free, because she is giving you the cheat code. She is telling you how to get from A to Z without having to go back and forth to the numbers and everywhere else. So make sure you're willing to make that investment if you're serious about leveling your business up, because it's gonna cost you to pay the it's going to cost you to be the boss. Excuse me. That's what I'm trying to say. So you want to definitely make sure that you're willing to make that investment within yourself, because time is money. And a lot of people, we all are sitting here talking about how we're trying to balance the time. So you want to make sure that you're willing to do that. And of course, there's lots of free content that's given out. If you follow Lori's page or my page, we give out free stuff all the time when it comes to business coaching. And of course, if that's part of something that you can kind of glean from. But if you are looking for professional coaching, definitely make that investment within yourself for sure. And Lori's a good start, and I'll help you too if I can.
And I also plug, somebody just put in the chat, the Sister Circle University School of Business too. Yeah, there's classes, courses there too. So if you haven't enrolled in that, please do that as well, because I teach courses there, and then there's just a whole community of other entrepreneurs that are going to be doing some great courses in 2022. So get locked in with School of Business for sure.
YouTube University, all that.
Yeah. All right, we can take 2 more questions and then we're going to get ready to wrap things up. We're so happy that everybody was on tonight. I hope if we missed your question and didn't answer it, please send it in again. I've been trying to go through over here to see if we missed anything, but we have time for 2 more questions.
Well, while you're waiting for questions, I'm going to hit the mentoring. Have always been a person who felt like I can figure things out on my own. I can figure it out. And I realize I can't. I just cannot. And Lori and Ashley both have been working with me as mentors and really helping me a lot, because I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And like Ashley said, you have to pay the cost to be the boss, and you're going to pay that cost whether you want to or not. So, it's important to invest in yourself in that way, and finding someone who will work with you. I mean, it's not always going to be a match. You might not find that.
Right.
But I've been fortunate enough to open myself up to even be receptive enough to find the right people. And I don't know, I've just been attracted to, I've always followed you ladies. And I think I reached out to Ashley one time and I asked you, do you mentor? And I think you told me, gave me some tips on trying to find one. And somehow we just organically just kind of linked up. But these two ladies will really kind of, Lori put me on track and she's like, well, I've been following you and I'm seeing what you're doing, but this is what I should be seeing, And so every day I'm keeping that at the forefront, like, okay, this is what I need to be doing. And then now I'm excited about it. Like, okay, so I got an idea, like, okay, I already did that today. So we're going to hold this idea on Thursday. So, it's a great thing when you can find you a mentor. It just opens. It's like when I would tell my students, when they would understand something, it's like the clouds opening. I'm just like, oh, and it makes that much of a difference.
Well, that's awesome. And I don't think we have any more questions. I just rolled back through just to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. But before we get off, with both of you ladies, drop your social media information again for your personal page, if you like, and your business page too, so that way everybody can go follow you.
Okay. Well, my personal page is Nicole Keith on IG, and it's NICHOLE KEITH all together on IG. And my business page is NK Paints. And my website is nkpaintsartstudio.com.
All right. And you can find me on Instagram because that's where I like to hang out. You also can find me on Facebook, but every day you can find me on Instagram at Still Shots Photography _NC. And you can find me on the World Wide Web at stillshotsphotography.com. And my number is very public. So you can always hit me up with a text and a phone call. So yeah, very easy to find. Not a hard person to hide. And we're downtown Greensboro. We're in the beautiful Southside Square, right up from Dave's Chicken and Waffle. So if you're in the neighborhood and you see the sign flip to open, drop on in, say, hey, girl, hey, with your mask on. And yeah, I'm going to give you a hug and high five you. And we're going to keep it moving.
Well, thank you. And I am Lori Pogue on Instagram, and website again is www.glorifiedmarketing.com. Thank you, everyone who came out tonight. We really appreciate it. We hope you learned a lot. I'm looking at all the comments here. Everybody's like, oh, I learned so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. And don't forget to check out Sister Circle School of Business for more of your business resources for entrepreneurship. Have a good night.
Good night. Happy birthday, Leah.